Hi. Okay, so as you can see, I did get my hair done last Saturday. I forgot to tell you, which I really don't like going to hairdressers because a lot of times they fool around too much. They always want to do everything but do your hair, and they always want to multitask. And then you sitting up there waiting for them to do your hair, and then they do that shit until 5 hours later when knowing damn well it should have been done less than 3 hours. Like, and they even say, oh, yeah, I would have been done earlier if I hadn't been fooling around. Well, like, why don't you ever just do people's hair like they got time? It's like, I don't really like to get my hair done because so many times people always want to act like you own their time and like, yeah, I'm doing you a service. Well, I am paying you, and the whole point of a service is to do it well. Don't just say you are doing someone a service if you aren't doing them good service. And that's all I have to say. I just don't understand why hairdressers can't just do hair. They always want to multitask. And a pet peeve of mine is when you go to the shop and there's so many heads for them to do, and they know damn well that you may have to wait for a long time, but they're like, okay, I got you. They do your hair. Like, they will wash your hair and put some shit in it and have you wait so you can't just leave the hair salon because you got tired of waiting. Like, no. I'm just so sick of just people thinking they know what the fuck they're doing, and they don't. But aside from that little rant, I want to do a video answering the question that is commonly asked by people, especially misogyny-wasp black men and colorist people. Are mixed people better looking than black people who aren't mixed? Fucking no. Well, that could be the end of this video, but I'm going to go into details because so many people tend to think that mixed people are just genetically superior than those who aren't mixed. And what we mean is those who are black, who are monoracial. Let me leave. And a lot of people will sit there and say mixed people just look better than those who aren't mixed. Not because of any social construct or white supremacy or Eurocentric beauty standards. It's just because they look better. It was because they were lucky enough to be born to one black parent and one non-black parent. And how the rest of us are just little niggers that were born to two black parents, and we are just unfortunate in genetics. And mixed people will always prosper. They are the answer to racism. They will destroy racism, which if that were the case, how come most people I see pretty much combating racism in a fair way, without colorism, without any hierarchy, how come they are usually black people who aren't necessarily biracial? So that kind of thwarts your ideal that it's biracial people who are the answers to an anti-racist utopian society. And a lot of people do that because of colorism. People believe that the less black and brown one is, the less racist this society will become. They're not saying, oh, racism will come to an end because we are getting browner. No, they are saying racism will come to an end because we are getting less brown. We are getting more mixed. And the nuances of mixed race in a white supremacist world is that the further from white you are, the less pure you are. So if you go from Snow White, Jennifer Aniston, to someone like Halle Berry is going to be oppressed because she is black and mixed race at that, while Jennifer Aniston is seen as more pure. And of course, this ideal of a pure race just is senseless. It doesn't make any sense. But in the black community, how people seem to combat anti-blackness and racism is this ideal called eugenics, where we believe that the less black we are, the more superior we are. So a lot of people date outside of their race. They have children with people outside of the race to make them more mixed, acceptable black, because we are taught at a young age that if you have to be black or brown, you at least got to be mixed. You got to be biracial. You got to have one white parent. You got to have one non-black parent if you are of African descent. At least that's how it should be. And that's very unfortunate, but it's true. It's it's really ignorant. It doesn't make any sense, but that's how white supremacy is, to just sit there and say that in order to end anti-blackness, you must breed outside of your race. And this comes to the question, well, if typically a mixed race black person comes out lighter skin with light eyes and curly blonde hair or lighter hair, are they better looking? No, but we have this ideal that good looking equates to light skin, blue eyes or light eyes, long curly loose hair, and small features. It isn't just about skin tone, it's about features. The more Eurocentric or less Afrocentric they are, the more attractive you are seen. But when it comes to beauty is looked at as symmetrical. It's all about the symmetry in your face. So if you have a wide nose and wide lips and a wide forehead and wide cheekbones, like something like that, wouldn't that be also symmetrical? Why is it just small features that are considered attractive? I don't know. I mean, I know, but it's just so hard to explain. And when people say mixed people look better, what they mean is mixed people tend to be lighter. They tend to be Eurocentric if they are half white, or even non-black. They tend to have non-black features or that racial ambiguity versus one who is monoracial, because a person of two black parents and a person of one black parent and one non-black parent, the person with the non-black parent is more likely to come out lighter skinned than one of two black parents. And it's not always the case, because there are people in my family who are lighter than the biracial people I know. There are people in my family who are even white passing and aren't what you would consider biracial because they have two black parents. But at the same time, when we look at a biracial person versus one who is monoracial of two black parents, say brown skinned black parents, the biracial person will likely be much lighter, will likely have a looser hair texture and more racial ambiguity than one who is monoracial. And that's what they are attracted to. A lot of people are attracted to that racial ambiguity, this ideal that you can't really tell if someone is black, but you can see the ethnic features. They have to be like Jane Kennedy from the 70s. Yes, you can tell that she is a woman of color, but you also can tell that she's not just black. She has to be Eurocentric enough to not look fully black, but ethnic enough to be exotic and to have that fullness to her face that a lot of, black people are known to having. And it's very unfortunate, but it's a hogwash ideal to say that mixed people just look better, not because of colorism or Eurocentrism, just because we're just poor saps who, just so happen to be born to two Negroes versus one. And as you know that I'm definitely not mixed. But it's all about genetics as well, because people will say, well, you're light skinned but you have very nappy coarse hair, versus one who is dark skinned but has a very loose hair texture, and then one who is light skinned but has a wide nose, or one who is dark skinned but has a thin nose. And I did want to say that it's not even just about skin color oftentimes, or no, it's not about features, it's about colorism. Because if it's so much that it's about you having a thin nose or smaller features, then how come there are dark-skinned women with all of that and they are still looked over light-skinned women with wider noses and wider features? Because colorism is real, and it's your color that really determines whether you are beautiful or not, but it's also features as well. But at the same time, there are dark-skinned women with those features that are looked over. And it's like they want darker-skinned women to be as white-looking as possible, whereas being light-skinned, you have more leniency. You are allowed to have a big ass. You are allowed to have fuller lips, a wider nose. I have seen light-skinned women who have been thought of as attractive, and they've had wide ass noses, and they were attractive women. There was nothing wrong with their features, but if it's about having a wide ass nose and big lips that makes you ugly, then why are light skinned women getting callbacks and getting people to talk to them and they have all of those features? It's colorism. It's a combination of all of that. And as we all know, being mixed does not mean you are light skinned. It does not mean that you have a certain aesthetic to yourself. But like I said, in the black community, usually those who have light skin privilege or racial ambiguity privileges, racially ambiguous privilege, white passing privilege, are typically biracial or of mixed race ancestry. That's just a fact. That's not something where I'm just like, oh yeah, just because you're light skinned, you're mixed. A lot of times people with such privilege are biracial. I mean, that's the truth, but it's not always the case, as we know. And a lot of times when we talk about mix, we mean black and white. We don't mean black and Japanese or black and Indian, black and indigenous, black and anything that's non-white. We always think of black and white because when it comes to this idea of being mixed, people think it has to be black / POC and white, not black / POC and of another mixture. But I just want people to know that when people say that you are inferior because you're not biracial or because you don't have that mixed look, that's not true. And it's not even so much about you being mixed. It's so much about having features that a lot of people who are biracial typically obtain because of their recent ancestry and their genetics. But any person can potentially obtain those features in the black community because we are of a mixed lineage of the African American community. But it's just easy to pretty much debunk ignorance when you have people trying to decolonize our mind when it comes to Eurocentric beauty standards. Tell me what you think about this video. Have a nice day.